Alrighty, guys, welcome back again to the DeFi Soapbox. I am joined here by Mr. Trador. Very interesting name, sir. Mr. Trador here is
Thanks.
representing Alpha Capital. So, for those of you who don't know, there are a lot of crypto assets that are being traded right now, publicly, privately, anything and everything that always trying to make sure that people can get their return on investment. It's super, super important. Trador, you are here to tell us about Alpha Capital. Do you want to try to start give us kind of an overview, a broad overview of what you guys have going on right now?
Sure. So we've been running this trading firm for about 3 years now. We started with arbitrage, but then we went into all sorts of strategies. And at the moment, we have quite a big bot portfolio. We have different strategies which we are able to run. And after all these years, basically at the moment, we don't have enough capital to run all these strategies efficiently. We could use more and still have the same returns. So that's the reason why we started this platform. We want to make this available to pretty much anyone as long as they invest when we have place, because we have a maximum deposit limit, which when it's reached, if we don't have any other available strategies, then we won't raise it and we will only trade for the people that are already in there.
Oh, okay, I see. So you
That's
you
why.
guys are you guys setting a date? You're setting a time limit on how much money can be invested?
It's only about the sum. It's not a time limit. There
Okay.
is no time limit. When it's filled, it's filled. We we have different strategies. So let's say, I don't know, we have 100,000. We just split this 100,000 into, let's say, 5 strategies, and we are running each of those with different amounts depending on what we have. And then at the end of the day, we see what each of those did, and yeah, we announce the return for the next day. That's basically how it works.
Awesome. So, what kind of strategies are you talking about? Like you said, I'm pretty sure you just mentioned that these were bot strategies. What kind of strategies are these bots employing?
Okay, so we have more than one type. We are doing arbitrage between checks platforms.
Okay.
And besides that, at the moment, we have some long and short bots, basically directional trading. And for these ones, we want to share the results once every 2 weeks. So starting next Monday, once every 2 weeks, we will put up a report where everyone can see how the profits were generated for the previous 2 weeks. So I don't know, 10% from arbitrage, 10% for this strategy, and so on and so forth. And we will announce the first report on Monday. We see what everyone thinks about it, if it's enough info in there, if there isn't, if we should add something or not. And yeah, we'll decide on the next reports, like the format and everything. At the moment, it's just a bit of testing and seeing what works for everyone, because yeah, as I told you before, we are very new, so we just want to see what works for people.
So, when you say you're new, do you mean that you're new in the DeFi crypto scene, or you're new to this trading in general?
No, I mean, the platform is new.
I
We've
see.
been trading, but only for ourselves
Okay, I
until
see.
recently.
So, is there anything you can show to the community that might prove the fact that you have been trading for a long time and are just now? I mean, do you have any record of your trades or how much money you've been able to make over the course of time that you've been trading by yourselves?
Sure, we do have that, and we were planning to show some stats on Monday together with the results from the past 2 weeks.
Very good.
Hopefully, until then, we will have some more people coming in the group, and then we can just I can just have a discussion there, and we can pin it and so on with different information, like what you just asked,
I,
track record and everything. Perhaps in the future, I'm not sure. Do you use TradingView?
I do not. I have not. I have not set up TradingView yet.
No, no problem. So what we could do at some point is basically like take one strategy of ours and code it into one indicator, and anyone will be able to add that to their trading view, and they will be able to actually verify the signals that like the trades are done at the same time and so on and so forth. So basically that kind of proves that the strategy is real. And yeah, it doesn't prove that the bots actually work, but it proves that the strategy exists. And if the strategy exists and it actually makes money, why wouldn't we use it live?
Yeah, no kidding. And I know bots have kind of been all the rage right now in DeFi. What do you think? What do you think separates you guys from some of these other projects? These other really big projects. I know Horde. We were about to launch Dauntless, which is going to be its own algorithmic grid trading, but the market is looking to be too harsh for us. What do you think separates Alpha Capital from some of these other projects that are also looking to do bot trading?
There is more than one thing actually. So one of them would be that we don't have a lockup. Many people asked us like, how are you managing this? Because there is always the risk that people withdraw their capital and then you don't know how much capital you actually have available for trading and all these things. So we came up with a solution to this. What we do is basically we just give me 1 second. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So we don't have this lockup, but we have a withdrawal control. So it works like this. We have a limit. It's 31 days at the moment, and you can invest, let's say, $1,000. But if on day 30 you decide to withdraw your initial capital, from $1,000 in 1 month, you should have made 500 more. But then if you claim that profits during that month, because you can claim every day, when you decide to withdraw after 30 days, the system will automatically calculate like how much you withdraw until then, and it will just subtract that from your total amount. So even if you claimed 500, but you invested 1,000 at the beginning, when you withdraw after 30 days, the system will only give you 1,000 minus those 500 that you claimed and minus the deposit fee. So this way, everything is quite predictable with us, for us, because we know exactly when each deposit is going to unlock, and we can just refrain from using like the whole available capital and know how much we need to make available for people to maybe withdraw because it's not mandatory.
Right.
And we can just keep that there and adjust if needed. And for example, if people will withdraw after only 30 days, the profits that they're missing out on, we want to allocate that to the insurance fund.
Okay. Tell me a bit
So,
more about this insurance fund. What does that look like?
sure. So at the moment, we didn't create the address and everything because we want to deposit in that once every 2 weeks. But then how that works, we will trade, we will have a profit each 2 weeks, and a portion of that will go to the insurance fund. And then when we will inevitably have like negative days where we lose some money, we will probably just take money from that insurance fund and announce like a zero return for that day. And also, if at any point in the future any funds from there will be needed, yeah, we will just use those to, I don't know, whatever may happen,
No, that,
like
that makes sense.
unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So something I want to kind of push back a little bit here on this insurance fund because I have heard of other
Sure.
projects that have said, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to put certain amount of money towards this, towards the insurance fund, towards buybacks. If there was a token involved with a project, they'd be like, "Oh, we're going to put so much money towards this buyback." One of the issues
Yeah.
that I've seen is with these projects is when something like that happens, like there is a negative day and the project has come out and they've said, "Oh, well, actually, we are not going to use the fund because the problem isn't even that bad, and we're just going to go ahead and keep saving this money." Meanwhile, the whole time they have told the community, if things start going wrong, we are going to use this money. and then they just never do. And I can think of several projects that have done that just off the top of my head, and that's really really
Yeah.
frustrating to people because that's part of what they're investing in is this kind of insurance. I know for as a investor, if I were to invest with you guys, I would want to make sure I don't necessarily care that you guys have negative days. That doesn't bother me, right? Because I know as a trader myself that the markets can be unpredictable, and there's going to be days where a loss happens. What I would want to be certain of that insurance fund, if that was being constantly raised, is if maybe there was be some sort of aspect of that insurance fund that was going to cover initial investments. That would be my big thing. So like, oh, if everything turns upside down tomorrow, the whole market crashes, every centralized exchange just goes bankrupt. We can give you we can give you a percentage of your initial investment back from that insurance fund, because negative days, negative days are going to happen. What do you think? Is that something that you guys as a project have really discussed, and have you communicated that with the community? Because that needs to make sure that everyone understands what that insurance fund is going to go towards.
I believe until now we didn't really explain it that good, since we didn't really start it yet per se. I mean, we didn't put any funds towards this yet, so
Okay.
I
When do
don't
you
think
when
there
do you
is anything
plan
more
on
to talk
putting
about it yet.
funds? When do you plan on putting funds towards the insurance fund?
First day will be on Monday,
Okay.
and then from then every 2 weeks we will just fund the insurance fund with more money.
I see.
And I was just thinking now about the issue that you just told me about, like projects actually saying that this insurance fund will cover this type of things, and then when it actually happens, then it's suddenly not covered anymore. Um, and like one solution may have come to mind now, but we will think about it more after this AMA.
Absolutely.
Uh, so what if, for example, we would do like a multi-sig with, I don't know, 2 members from the team,
Hmm.
and then another 3 trusted members from the community,
Hmm.
which would each have a key. And then to actually get that insurance fund out, you need to have like 3 out of 5 keys or something like this. So this way we ensure that no one can single-handedly steal those funds, and we actually have to ask the community as well if we want to use it.
That's a very good
I don't
idea.
know.
I like that.
Maybe this makes sense, but then we will consider other options as well.
Of
And
course.
but I'm not sure if there are many other options besides this, since the funds need to stay in someone's wallet.
I understand. And that's all I'm saying really is I just hate to hear you say something about this insurance fund, and then whenever the time comes, it doesn't end up happening for whatever reasons. It really just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, having seen that happen
Okay.
before. But I appreciate that you responding to the feedback. I would love to hear whenever you do know, whenever your devs and your team decide on what exactly that you guys want to go with that route. I would love to know about it. That way, we can
Yeah,
have
we
you
could
back.
maybe talk about this again, like on Monday after we announce the returns and so on. We will have a discussion about the insurance fund as well, and maybe we can open this discussion again at that point and see
Absolutely.
what we come up with. Yeah,
Perfect. So I have a question for you. What is your role within the Alpha Capital community? What's your role?
I'm a trader. I'm a
Okay.
trader actually.
So you do trades. What kind of are you kind of focusing mainly on blue chips right now? Do you guys obviously if you're trading on centralized exchanges, you guys probably aren't trading a bunch of meme coins, right?
No. So for the directional trading part, at the moment we are focusing solely on blue chips, and not even on blue chips, only on Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay.
And for arbitrage, depends on what opportunities come up, but mainly, and I wouldn't say blue chip, because for blue chip arbitrage you need like a lot of funds,
Hmm.
but I don't know, like tier one coins, because these ones are the best if you don't have that much capital yet. Besides the 100K in the platform, we are still trading with our own capital as well. So that's one thing to keep in mind,
I see.
because
How much money
as
do
I
you
told you
guys have
before.
on your own that you're trading?
So at the moment we are trading with about 2 million.
Oh
give or
wow.
take, like
Okay,
100K.
so
Yeah.
why? Okay, this is going to beg a question, and I don't mean to sound offensive. I'm not trying to come at you or anything, but if you've got two
Sure.
million in the bank that you're already trading, why on earth would you open up to the community?
First of all, it's not only my personal money, it's like the trading company. There is uh, there is at least one more executive.
I see.
So it's not only my personal funds. And as I told you before, like the strategies that we have until now, we will start to make them public. I mean, not the strategies themselves, but the results.
Hmm.
And you will see that we actually have so many at the moment that we don't have enough capital to run all of those at their maximum potential.
I
So
see.
this is why we actually opened this.
Okay.
As I told you before, again, like we won't take unlimited capital. We are just like at the moment the limit is 1 million. We will just fill this 1 million and then reevaluate the situation, see what strategies we have, see where we can put more, see if we have more or not, and then decide that are we gonna raise this limit? Are we gonna keep it the same?
Hmm.
And yeah, we'll see how that works.
Okay. Well, I mean, it definitely sounds like you guys know what you're doing as far as, I'm sure there's all kinds of strategies that go into whether it's trading Bitcoin and trading ETH. I would personally like to see, if I were to get involved, I would love to see as a community member something that goes into a little bit more risky plays, right? Because I mean, we're all degens, right? And I know like a 1% a day is really, really great. But I would love to see a portion of the money allocated towards some higher risk, higher reward plays. Just because every once in a while, everybody loves to see that big payday. But speaking of paydays, that kind of brings me to my next question. What exactly do you guys? How do you guys make money from this? So obviously, I think I read there's a 5% deposit fee. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what portion? So let's say you guys make 1% per day, trading or maybe for 5 days in a row you make 1% per day. So over those 5 days, you guys have netted 5%. What portion of that goes towards the people who are invested versus how much goes to you guys?
So at the moment, we are taking only that initial 5% deposit fee.
Okay.
And the rest, whatever, let's say we announced 1% on the day, like on the app, but instead that day we made 1.1%. We will give all of that to the insurance fund. That's for the beginning right now. We have other plans in the future to develop more things.
Hmm.
And then at that point, we will take more fees from other stuff. But as the platform stands now, there is only that 5% deposit fee. That's it. But then you also have to take into consideration that each time anyone compounds or anything like this, we still take 5% out of that.
I see.
So
Okay.
it's not I wouldn't say it's too little of a commission, even how it stands now.
Right. No, and I don't think that's I don't think it's terrible to assume that a lot of traders, a lot of IRL traders, people. I guess you guys are IRL traders. I should say more traders that aren't necessarily in DeFi take a lot more than 5%. So that is a very very low amount to be taking as part of the commission. However, what I do want to point out is that we have other projects out there like StableFund. Do you guys consider yourselves competition for StableFund?
Not necessarily. I think stable fund, sorry, like their target audience is very different than ours. They basically want unlimited funds, as many people as possible in, and so on and so forth. I
Mm-hmm.
would really like to instead gather like a strong community which understands what we actually do and understands that there will be some losing days as well, and like really understand what we are all about, how we are generating the profits and so on. So there isn't any like useless FUD, because if we have 100,000 people into the project, it's inevitable that, I don't know, 10% of them will probably not understand a thing from what we are doing, and they will come up with all sorts of questions. Then you have that risk that they withdraw without saying anything. It's it's quite a big mess. Like this, if we only had a few hundred investors in total at any point, I think it's more than enough.
I see. Well, and
And
listen,
besides that, yeah, we also have, sorry to interrupt, but we also have that system where you can withdraw anytime. Obviously, it would have been better for us to know that the money is locked and, yeah, we have that available to trade for that specific period of time. But we feel like locking people's funds, especially in these circumstances with like FTX and everything, I really don't think it's a good idea. And it should be better for the user because let's say you go in, but at any point, I don't know, you read some FUD and you actually believe it. Okay, you can just get your capital and get out, and you lose 5% the deposit fee, but at least you didn't lose everything.
yeah, man, that really is interesting to me. How I agree with you. I think that people need to be able to have access to their funds, but when you're talking about having that money put into trades, if somebody can instantly go into your protocol and withdraw their money, but you guys have that money invested, how do you rationalize that? How does that work?
Sure, let me just explain this. So let's say we have 100K in total,
Okay.
and we allocate uh, 60,000 for arbitrage, and the rest of 40,000 for directional trading. The risk of 60% of the people withdrawing at the same time is pretty much non-existent unless you give some really bad signs or a very big FUD comes up. So the capital from the arbitrage, we can free it up pretty much anytime. It's just like a few minutes, maybe hours notice.
Mm-hmm.
So in case we notice there are some big withdrawals coming, or I don't know, like some people want to withdraw and there are not enough funds in the contract, we can just take some capital from there and fund the contracts, and that's it. So it's just more about what type of trading you are doing and with how much uh, how much percentage of the fund.
Yeah.
If you are doing directional trading with like all the funds, yeah, I understand how you could get wrecked by these sorts of fluctuations, because if you are in a long and I don't know, you are losing currently and people want to get their money out and you don't have enough, and that makes you close your position in a loss, then it's pretty bad. But the way we are doing it, I think it's quite safe.
Okay. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be you guys who's responsible for it if something does go wrong. What kind of do you have? I really want to have a really solid answer on this, because I like I said, I like the theory. I like the thought of you guys being able to say, hey, you guys can withdraw your money at any time. But from a strictly financial perspective, the money can't exist in two places at once. So if you're willing to let people withdraw, my worst case scenario is I invest and our community invests. And then, there, like you said, there is some really, really big FUD. And sometimes you can't control it. Sometimes it's pure rumor and none of it's true, but it doesn't matter because people are fickle and people are stupid. And they will go and they will try and take their money out. But like I said, money can't exist in two places. So then your protocol has to suffer, and everybody who was within there. So I think that I would really, really like to see some sort of locking mechanism. It doesn't have to be crazy, but I don't want to see these bank runs happen and we see a bunch of people get screwed unless you're telling me right now that 100% of the time, if there is a bank run on the project and you guys have to start paying people out, their initials, whatever, using insurance fund or have access to their funds, are you guys going to close the contract down if that happens and stop withdrawals?
The thing is, once you understand the system pretty well, you will see that the chance of this happening is very slim. Let me give you another example. So let's say we have 100 people that each put in $1,000 in the contract. And after 30 days, half of them want to withdraw. So 50 people want to withdraw. During that month, out of 100K, we generated another 50K, let's say for simplicity's sake. If half of them want to withdraw, in one day, in one go, let's say it's all in one go, we would have $150,000 in total, and we would only have to send 50,000 to people because they wouldn't get their profits. So the situation at the end will look like this. We would have 50 investors that each that together have $75,000 in the contract, and then the $25,000 that the other users are missing went to the insurance fund. So now we have $25,000 in the insurance fund, and we still have the initial money that from the second from the yeah from it's a bit hard to imagine all of this at once.
No, it's not. No, listen, this is what I do for a living, so I'm perfectly capable. I understand your analogy.
Yeah, what I want to say is that we will always have a surplus of funds because we announce the returns daily, so there is no reason for us to say that we made 2% when we actually made 1%. So we will always have a surplus of funds, even if a lot of people withdraw at once. So I don't really see how a full bank run could happen. Of course, like the total value locked in the platform will go down by a lot, but then we still wouldn't be insolvent, which is the most important thing. Even if, let's say, everyone withdraws, we would still have some capital left, which is everyone's profit because they withdrew before that
Okay.
the time limit.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. So, like you said, you've been able to mention some of your techniques that you guys are using for these trades. I think I asked you earlier if you're going to be showing your trades, like you said, Monday you're going to start trying to show some trades. How did you guys come to the conclusion that you wanted to trade Matic, BUSD? I think you're trading BNB as well, correct?
Yeah, we do. So if we accept these assets, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are trading these assets. How it works is each start of the day, we see how much money we have available. We trade, and at the end of the day, we swap some of the assets again in BNB, BUSD, Matic, and USDC, so that it all stays the same. And let's say maybe we made 1% profits in BUSD, but because BNB went up by 3%, we actually made less in BNB. It doesn't matter. We still see the total, what we have in total, and how, what profit percentage it equates like overall. And we just split the profits the same for every pool.
Okay.
That's why the return is the same for each pool, and it's not different.
Okay. Yeah, that seems to make sense.
Consideration the price. Yeah.
Okay. So when you take BUSD from an investor, what is something that you like to invest that BUSD? What are you guys converting that BUSD into to trade?
The BUSD specifically, we actually keep it in BUSD because we are trading a lot on Binance. So, and that is more and more popular there. But for example, like the Matic specifically, we would exchange it. But for now, there isn't much Matic anyways in the contract, so there is no reason to go that yet.
Okay. Speaking of contracts, you guys are operating a smart contract, yes?
Yes.
Has there been any audits around it?
No, we just wanted to wait to see if people actually request an audit or not. A lot of people asked about it, so we'll do it. And we were just researching some auditing companies now, and we want to decide on which one to get. So
Okay.
if you have any recommendations or we are open to it.
Yeah, you're sounding a bit distant right now. Your mic sounds like you're talking far away. What I will say is if an audit isn't going to be feasible because you guys need access to the money, I perfectly understand that. I think with a multi-sig going on the insurance fund, that would be enough to suffice, so long as you guys are actually producing returns, which it sounds like you are. What I would recommend though is KYC. What about KYC? Are you guys pursuing anything on that front?
Our founder is actually public. You can look up the company and then you will find his name. And Yeah, I mean, he will probably just, I'm not sure if this Monday he will present the results,
Okay.
but then you will probably see him over video and so on uh,
Okay. What's the
in the
name of the
future.
company?
So let me just write it here in the chat
Yes,
in
please.
AMA questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
LTD. Okay. Where are you guys based out of?
UK.
UK. All right.
The company is in the UK. Yeah.
Very good. Awesome. Well, hey, listen. I'll be honest, man. I'm very much interested, and I think I'd like to talk to you more about it after this AMA, even. However, if there's any questions, is there anything else that you think you would want to make sure that the community knows before we sign off here?
No, I mean, I'm good for now. It's just our first voice AMA. We
Well,
will
well,
probably
you did
continue to
great,
do
buddy.
ours.
You did fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, uh, we are just trying to ramp up some promotions at the moment, but we are just taking it slowly. Like, no
Yeah.
reason to rush anything.
No,
We are just
absolutely
waiting
not.
for the first report on Monday. I think after we show that, a lot of people will change their mind if they had another opinion until now. But I
Okay.
don't think they had any reason to.
Yeah, roger that. Well, like I said, I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you being able to respond to even my candid questions. I don't ever mean to sound harsh, but sometimes, you have
No,
to
that's
ask.
fine.
You got to ask the tough questions, and like I said, I appreciate you being so willing to answer. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Sure.
As you guys continue to grow, we need to stay in touch because I'm very, very interested in what you guys got going on. But I appreciate Pepper and Evo. Thanks for coming out, guys. And I'll go ahead and stop the recording here. And I appreciate everybody, and we will talk soon. Okay?
Thank you for your time. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.